Hi, I'm Phil. How do you decide which editing program to use? Photo editing is key to fulfilling your vision in your photos, but with so many different photo editing programs, how do you decide which program is best for you? While Luminar, Lightroom, Capture One, and Photoshop are all photo editing applications, they each have different strengths and weaknesses. Photoshop and Luminar are powerful editing tools, but they lack the ability to organize and categorize multiple photos at the same time. Keep in mind, these programs will work best when used in conjunction with other photo editing applications designed to work with multiple photos at a time. We will be comparing these programs based on workflow speed, organization, rating, cropping, basic adjustments, color grading, bulk exporting, and AI capabilities. Just a quick disclaimer, Luminar reached out to us to review their new program, Luminar Neo. They did give us a free download and some affiliate links that you can use to purchase the program if you're interested. But in this video, we'll be taking an unbiased look at how it compares to Lightroom, Photoshop, and Capture One Pro. All right, so let's take a look at Capture One. So this is the main workspace of everything. On the left-hand side, you have all of the tools, and on the right-hand side is where you would have your collections, which is where all the photos would be located. Now, let's take a look at the import function of Capture One. So Capture One can bulk import. The import function is right here. So let's look for some photos to import. All right, it's going to open up this window, and this is where you will choose your source to get the photos from. Let's grab it here, test images, and we will use these 3 photos for this review. All right, so when you select your images, the images will pop up on this side of the window, and you can select the specific images, check it here, and you press this button here. And of course, you can bulk import just however many images that you want to import, and just click import. So back in the main workspace, you'll see that your images have been imported. They're all located on the right-hand side, and you can change and sort the view of the images by name, date, rating, color tag, and so on and so forth. Okay, so with that said, let's talk about how you can organize the images in Capture One. So you click this section right here, and this will show up the different ways to organize the images. And again, name, date, rating, so on and so forth. But we're just gonna go by name for this time being. And that's just an easy way to organize your photos in Capture One. Okay, so Capture One makes it super easy to rate your photos. So when you select on a photo, you will see that in this collection side of things, you will see the rating. You can just click on the 5-star, on the star rating system. You can use the numbers. So right now I'm hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, just to show the number star rating for that specific photo. You also have the option of color tagging it, and right now you have like all the colors of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, pink, and purple. But we'll just tag this one red, just to show you how to tag everything: red, orange, and yellow. So all these are tagged differently and rated accordingly. Okay, so let's say we want to edit this image, right? But the first thing I want to do is crop. So let's go over how to crop in Capture One. So on the upper hand side of the workspace, you will see all the tools that you can use. And this one right here is the cropping function. You can have presets 1x2, 1x3, 2x3, so on and so forth. And you can also crop just by pressing C on the keyboard, and that will allow you to crop just by using that specific shortcut. If you right click here, when you have the crop tool clicked, you can, this window will pop up as well, and you can just crop from there as well. So right now, because say I want to use this for Instagram or something, I'll just crop it at a 4:5 ratio, and there. So cropping is super easy in Capture One. All right, now let's talk about basic lighting adjustments in Capture One. Now, on the right-hand side, you have your images and how you can sort them. And on the left-hand side is where you will have all of your edits. So if you look at this tab here, you'll have library, tether, shape, style, adjust, and refine. You will find all of your basic lighting adjustments under the adjust tab. So if you look here, you have access to the histogram. Something that's really cool about Capture One is the fact that they have layers, and you can add specific layers for different types of edits. So say, for example, let's demonstrate it real quickly. This is, let's name this layer exposure. I literally just forgot what that was called for a second. But let's call this one exposure. Right now, you can edit the exposure. That's not doing what I thought it was. Let's try that again. Okay, so what I did before was I added an empty adjustment layer. So let's add in a new filled adjustment layer. So you will see that it is filled. You can see the mask covering the entire image. So let's redo that again. And now you will see that by changing the slider, I can edit the exposure. I also have access to the other adjustments as well: contrast, brightness, saturation, so on and so forth. So that's just an easy way to do basic lighting adjustments. And if you want to undo, redo any of that, just Command Z if you're on a Mac, and you will be able to undo those adjustments. Something that's really cool about Capture One is that you can easily transfer edits among certain photos. So let's say, all right, let's just auto this real quick. Let's say I want to apply this edit to a different photo that I have. So what I would do here is go to the top of the workspace, click this button here, which is Copy Adjustments. Say I want to apply it to this image right here, and then I would just hit this button and it would apply the same edits to that photo. And so let's talk about color editing real quick. Capture One has a really good function for color editing. So if I go into the color editor real quick, you can see that I can change the hues, I can change saturation of a specific color. Right now I am looking at the blues, and it's just very simple to edit that. But if you look at the color balance tool right now, you have many options when it comes to color editing. So here, if you click here, this is the master. This will change the hues, the saturation of everything so far. Now, if you click here, three-way, you have options to edit the color of the shadows, the midtones, and the highlights. And this gives you a lot of leeway, and it simplifies just how you would look at and go about color grading. And if you look at these tabs here, you can edit the shadows, the midtones, and the highlights of this specific image. So you have a lot of options when it comes to color balancing and color editing your images in Capture One. Let's talk about AI tools in Capture One. So Capture One has this feature called Smart Adjustments, which is their take on AI. So Capture One has this feature called Smart Adjustments that you can use to basically apply edits from one photo and basically apply it to another photo. So this photo right here, this headshot, has all of these edits. So I will quickly set that as a reference right here. Go to the photo that I want to apply edits for. I want to edit the white balance and the exposure. I would click these things and I would hit apply. And then it should apply everything from the previous photo. And if you look between the two, they are pretty similar and it did a pretty good job at it. Also, Capture One has other AI editing capabilities. Something they also have is dust removal. So let's quickly look at that. So dust removal is right underneath the refined tab, and you'll see it right over here. It says dust removal beta. So let's test it out really quickly. Let's use this image. Now this image has a lot of dust on it. So let's try it out real quick. All right, so I'll select this. I will auto do it, auto adjust. And it did not edit any of the dust out. I don't think this function works. All right, so to sum up real quickly, Capture One Pro is overall a really good program for editing photos. You have all of your tools. It's very easy to organize your photos, import and export as well. All of the editing tools, whether that's basic color adjustments, basic exposure adjustments, are all located under the adjustment tabs, and you have access to your images. You can import easily. You can style, adjust, and so on and so forth. This program is really good for photo editors, anyone who's just trying to basically do in-depth photo editing for the images that they're trying to share with people. Personally, Capture One is the photo editing program that I like to use. I find it very easy to use, and honestly, it's overall really good. Okay, so let's take a look at Luminar Neo. So when you open up the program, it seems that this is the main workspace. On the left-hand side, you can see there's an Add Photos button, and you can have access to the folders and albums, which is probably how you're going to organize your images. This is the dashboard where you can see the images that you've imported under the catalog, presets here for any presets you want to add to your images, and the main editing tab. And it seems like all the tools are here and the edits that you will be doing on your images. So let's go through this real quick. Let's say I want to add some photos. Let's go back to our test images folder. And let's say I want to import all of these images. So I'll select them, I will click add, and it imported the images. So it seems like you can bulk import your images into this program. Right now that I've imported all my images, I want to organize them. So let's see over here. Say I want a new folder. That doesn't look like it's a place to organize things. It looks like that's an import function as well. Let's try albums. Okay. So to create a new album, let's say this is test images. All right, so seems like this image was already placed into the test album. Let me just drag some other stuff. Okay, and it looks like I can organize photos in this specific way. That's really cool. Now everything is located in this album. It looks like you can organize it by all photos, raw, favorites, rejected, and unmarked and edited. You can arrange it by the edit time, or I guess that would assume that, or the last time you made edits on it, capture time, and file name, type, size. That's really cool. And you can arrange the thumbnails by small, medium, large. That's really useful as well. All right, let's see if I can rate these photos. So if I right click here, I can add it to favorites, reject it, unmark it. It looks like I can cull all through this function here. See adjustments, flip. It doesn't look like there's a rating function, but it looks like you can just flag it, whether that's favorite, rejected, or unmarked. All right, so going through Luminar, it seems that all of their tools are on this right-hand side, and it seems like a big part of their tool set, or their toolkit rather, are their AI functions, which is really cool, and I'm really excited to try it out. So there's a crop AI feature. That's an interesting one to test out. Okay, so let's try this. Okay, we'll do a 5:7 ratio, composition AI. I wonder what that does. Okay. So basically just auto adjusted for how I would want the crop to make a composition look cool. And that, I mean, I guess that looks pretty cool. Function is, I mean, like if I were to crop this photo, I'd probably do the same thing. So that's a really neat feature. And let's hit apply. Apply and crop. All right, so we have a perfectly cropped image based off of the settings that I hit. So as far as it goes for the cropping function in this program, it seems like really, really cool and intuitive. Now let's go through these other tools as well. So for this specific image, I want to, let's go Sky AI. For this photo, it seems if I click on this, what does this do? I can change the sky function, or I can change the sky. This is kind of cool. Okay, so this is my sky right now. Let's change this sky to something more striking, something more magical. Okay. That looks pretty cool. That looks, I mean, that's kind of cool looking. Kind of darkened the building for no reason. This is kind of cool. So it does a pretty clean edit of the sky itself, but whether it looks realistic or not is, I guess, up to your taste. Oh, I can change this. Oh, it's nighttime now. That's fun. Let's say I want to have this galaxy for my image, this galaxy sky. All right, it seems you can change the horizontal position, the vertical position, and yeah, that too. Okay, that's kind of cool. You can flip it. That's, oh, you have a lot of there's a lot of leeway with this edit. Okay, that's interesting. So you can fine tune the sky edit that you just did with this. That's pretty dope, not gonna lie. Okay, now this is something that I find interesting. Let's look at the portrait edits. All right, so I saw that there were portrait AI tools that you can use. So let's go on the edit tab. All right, now let's try to edit this portrait. I'm really interested to see how this is gonna play out. So this is a headshot of myself. Skin is looking kind of not great, not gonna lie. So let's edit that real quick. Let's see what this is doing. I'm gonna zoom in on my face real quick. Okay, so this is kind of just making my skin softer, and it looks pretty all right. So that's at 100%. That's at 0. Okay. All right, just for the sake of this, let's do 100. Okay, it looks pretty solid. And I can remove the shine of my skin. I like it. It's a pretty nice edit. Oh, there's a skin defects removal. I didn't even see that. Okay, let's see if it edits out my pimples. Huh, okay. So it found where, okay. So it was able to recognize where my skin blemishes are, but that's just a block of pixel right over it. It didn't nab that part, okay. So if I want to see the before and after of this image, I have to hold down this eye button right over here. So this is the before with all these edits, the skin amount, shine removal, and that's it after everything. So my skin still looks good, but yeah, this AI needs to be improved a little bit more. These are just blocks of, it's just a single pixel block over my, okay, so let's just, okay, let's move on. Let's move on. I'm gonna do some basic exposure adjustments, see if, all right, I want it brighter. Let's do some contrast. Oh, and here's the color tab. I can color edit as well. So as far as color editing goes, it seems like I can only just do color temperature, tint, saturation. Okay, let's just add some saturation to that. Vibrance. Okay, but it doesn't seem like I can do any color grading in here. It seems like there are some black and whites I can edit. Oh, but that's like the blacks and whites and not the literal color editing there. Oh, there's a color tab right here. Okay. Well, that's okay. That's also saturation and vibrance. Remove color cast. That just seems like it's adding a vignette. All right, let's go through this photo real quick. And I want to edit it. It looks like there's a lot of dust on it. So let's see if there's a dust removal function. Ooh, it's probably under erase. There we go. Ah, here we go. So it seems that you can remove, well, you can remove power lines and you can remove dust spots. So that seems like a useful function. If I click this, will it just remove the dust automatically? Okay, that didn't do anything. Oh, do I have to? Okay, so it seems I have to select the dust here. Let's see. Okay, that's size of the cursor. Now let's erase. All right, so that removed the dust, and it did a pretty. Wait a second. It did a pretty alright job. It would have been really cool if there was just a one button click to remove all the dust, but I guess this is alright as well. You can fine tune the dust removal in it. So that's a very useful function, especially if we're talking about product photography. Okay, let's further clean up this photo because this is looking horrendous from the previous edits that I've done. Let's see if there's if I can just undo everything. Oh, well, it looks like under or right next to tools are the previous edits that I've done. I could probably erase all of these. Discard edits. So I just removed everything that I did. Cool. So it seems very easy to undo everything. Well, let's see. Ooh, this is cool. Relight AI. I think the lighting is pretty alright in this image, but let's see how I can improve this. So it looks like there's a brightness near, brightness far, depth, dehalo, warmth near, and warmth far. Let's see what each one of these do. Oh, that's kind of cool. Okay, so it seems that the brightness near is really just affecting the subject, which is me in this photo. They're doing a pretty solid job at that. Okay, now let's try brightness far. Oh, wow, okay. So it seems that with this AI tool, it's able to recognize which is the foreground and the background of the image. Okay, let's say I want a super bright image. Brightness nearer. Okay, so that's pretty useful. The depth. Now this looks like it affects the intensity of that effect. So it seems that with this Relight AI tool, you're able to adjust the exposure of the subject and the background and also the color temperature of the subject in the background separately, and it seems to be doing a pretty solid job at that. That's really cool. Let's see what else they have. Atmosphere, mood. I can choose LUTs. Now, something I want to figure out with this is, say I clean up all my images, am I able to bulk export everything? Okay, so let's select our images. Let's click export. Let's put it in this folder, test images. Okay, cool. So you can bulk export with this program. That's really nice. Taking kind of long though. 0 of 3. It's been a few seconds already. 1 of 3. 2 of 3. Why is exporting taking so long? Oh my god. Okay. Well, you can bulk export. That took way longer than it should have, which is kind of odd. Kind of disappointing, but alright. So I know it's a common thing that you can basically copy adjustments and apply it to other images, so I'm very interested to see if you can do that here. So if you go back to the catalog, it looks like this button here is the copy and paste adjustments. So let's see if this works. Copy adjustments. Let's say I want to apply it to this photo. Paste adjustments. That didn't do what I thought it was going to do. Let's check in the edit tab, see what exactly it pasted. So the Sky AI edit is actually here, but it's not doing anything. Develop. Okay, it seems that everything else is still here, but it's not oh. What the heck? What just happened there? It seems that the adjustments were properly pasted. It just took a bit to load. The galaxy is here. It seems that everything else is pasted accordingly. All right, so let's quickly go over everything in Luminar Neo that we've kind of touched base with at the moment. You can bulk import. All of the information regarding the photos are to the right hand side. You have access to presets, and this is the editing tab, which gives you regular tools and AI tools all at the same time. Some of the AI tools seem like they could use a little improvement on. So Luminar seems like a good program if you're trying to get some quick edits for your images. You can do some cool and crazy effects with the tools that they offer in the program. And if that's your kind of thing and you're interested in using Luminar, we do have affiliate links posted in the description below. All right, so let's take a look at Lightroom. All right, so when you open up the program, this is the main workspace of everything. You can see we're in the library tab right now. So let's try bulk importing. All right, so the import button is right here. So let's click it and select our images. This pop-up will show up and we can go straight into importing our images. So let's get it from this folder here. And right now we have all of our photos that we want to import selected. So after you have all of the images that you want to import selected, you can set it to go to a specific destination. And right now they're going into a subfolder. I don't want it to go into a subfolder, so I'll uncheck that. I'll organize it probably into one folder. And then that will go into the destination that is the Kalari hard drive. And then I'll put it in the folder of test images. All right, so now that that's all set, let's import. As you can see, all the images were imported successfully into the program. And let's take a look at it. Right now we're on the library tab, and these are all the images here. And you can see here that you can rate it easily. Right now I'm rating it with a 5-star system. If you right click on the images, you can see that there are many different ways that you can rate it. So right here, you can set the flag, whether it's flagged, unflagged, or rejected. You have the rating by the star system. And you can also set a color label for these images as well. So all of my images are imported and rated accordingly. And let's say I want to go and edit them. So let's see how easy it is to do the color adjustments and so on and so forth with all the images here. So going into the develop tab, you'll see that it'll open up an image. On the left hand side, there are all these presets that you can use on the images. If you hover over them, you'll see a quick preview of what that preset will look like over the image. And on the right hand side, you have all the adjustments that you can do with an image. As you can see, there is a histogram that shows the exposure levels of an image, and you have access to the basic exposure adjustments, tone curve, color grading, detail, lens corrections, transform effects, and calibration. So everything is organized really cleanly in Lightroom, which is something I'm a huge fan of. Okay, so with all of that out of the way, let's do a quick edit for this specific image. Really quickly, let's add a preset. Let's do basic color adjustments. I won't find detail, so let's just auto everything. Oh, actually that looked kind of bad, so I'm just gonna edit everything manually over there. All right, pretty solid. Let's add a little S curve for the tone. So even just doing these basic edits, everything just seems very intuitive because everything in the workspace is very organized. Just all the color adjustments are here, everything from exposure and color adjustments. Any presets located on the left-hand side. It's very easy to navigate. Anyway, so now with some basic exposure edits, I probably won't edit too much of the color, but as you can see here, the color grading and the HSL sliders are all located here. They're organized by color. You can change the hues, saturation, luminance of specific colors if you so desire. But also here you have access to the color grading. So right now you can see all the midtones being changed by the color. You can also change the shadow colors as well and the highlights. Something that I want to look at in Lightroom is the AI capabilities of it. Right, so clicking on the masking icon, you'll see here that it seems that Lightroom has already auto-selected like what masks I would potentially want in it. It has teeth, iris and pupil, eye sclera, and facial skin, which is pretty insane. Hovering over these masks show like what is being selected right now. Obviously, I'm not smiling in this image, so it's not highlighting any teeth, but if you go over facial skin and you hover over it, it just shows the mask and it's basically covering my skin, and it's doing a really good job at selecting my skin. So as you can see, the auto selection AI in this program is really incredible. Honestly, with a click of a button, it will easily select certain parts of the images that you might want to select and edit yourself, but it does a pretty good job in its own right. So it's a huge time saver. Honestly, I'm really liking this feature in Lightroom. It's absolutely incredible. Something that I also really like about Lightroom is that you can quickly show the before and after with a click of a button. So something that's really cool that you can do with Lightroom is show the image before the edits and after the edits with a click of a button. Right now I'm hitting the slash key and it's showing the image before the edits and after the edits. And something that you can also do is change how that looks. So clicking this button here at the bottom of the screen, you can change how the before and after function works. So at the bottom of the screen, when you click this icon, you can change how the before and after feature works. So clicking this, you have different icon or different options for showing the before and after. Let's just cycle through them real quick. It'll show the before and after, there, and it just shows different options. Okay, so let's say I'm happy with all these edits and I would like to apply these edits to another image. I'll show you how to do that real quick. So you can apply adjustments from one image to another image very easily. All you got to do, Command C, it will show all of these settings that you can click on and apply to the next adjustment. So let's say I want all of these settings applied to the next image. I will check them off, copy it, go to my image, and paste, which would be Command V on a Mac. And as you can see, all of these adjustments were applied to this image successfully. Once I have all of my adjustments on my images and the images that I'd like to edit, I can easily export, and let's see how to do that in Lightroom. So right now I'm in the Develop tab. Let me select everything really quickly and go back to the Library tab. And as you can see here, this is where we imported our images. So we'll also export here as well. So right next to the import button is the export button. Click that. This pop-up will show up showing the export location. You can name your files accordingly. File settings, image sizing, output sharpening, basically all of the settings that you would want to apply to your export. Once all of that is set, export real quickly. This pop-up showed up, but that's probably unrelated. Update unlimited file size. Just press continue, and it is exporting these 3 files. So as you can see, Lightroom has a very straightforward and simplified exporting function, and it is very easy to use. Overall, I would say that Lightroom is a really great program for photo editing. Everything is very streamlined, from importing your images to rating everything, tagging everything, editing, and exporting all the way through. Honestly, Lightroom is a very great program, and it's really a good choice for any photographer, from hobbyists to professionals, anyone who's trying to do professional edits on their images and just get a really good look for the photos that you've taken. So let's take a look at Photoshop. So when you open up the program, it takes you to this pre-workspace where you can import a file or open a pre-existing file. Now, Photoshop in itself is a very powerful program that lets you do many different kinds of edits on images. But what sets Photoshop apart from the other previous programs is that you can only edit one image at a time. So let's go through that really quickly. Click on New File. It will give you these presets that you can choose from. So let's choose default Photoshop size. Let's work with this. Create. And ooh, this pop-up shows up. Generative Fill. We'll be trying it out in a little bit, so just close that pop-up real quick. And here's the canvas for the image we're trying to work with in Photoshop. So there's this pop-up that comes up and it says import image. So I'll click that real quick. And let's find some images to import. All right, so when you import an image, it's going to open up in Camera Raw, which is basically where you do your basic color and exposure adjustments to the image before you even import it into Photoshop. So let's do that really quickly. Do some basic edits here. All right, so this seems like a pretty good basic baseline of an edit. So let's open that into Photoshop. So now that we've imported an image and I've generated a fill image, let's see what we can do with editing. All right, so when you're in Photoshop, you have access to all your tools on the left-hand side. There are a plethora of tools, so just going through them, you have lasso, object selection tool, the cropping tool is here as well, frame, and many other things. Something that's also useful is spot healing brush when you're trying to remove certain, like for example, if you're trying to edit skin, you can edit out blemishes. And it's just all located here. On the right-hand side, you have your layers and your color swatches, gradients, and patterns that you can also use when you're editing. Now you can do basic color adjustments as we've done with this image here, but ideally you'd probably want to do your color adjustments and any other basic edits in another program and then import into Photoshop, so then you can do more in-depth edits. So when it comes to in-depth editing in Photoshop, you can do many things. Like for example, something that could be possible is removing the subject's glasses. So let's try that out really quick. Now, in terms of in-depth editing, this is where a lot of the AI tools will come in handy. So going over and hovering over the image, you can see that I can easily select the subject of this image. It has me outlined from my hair all the way down to the jacket. Clicking on it will select it very easily, and it does a pretty solid job at selecting the subject. I mean, it does miss some of my hair, but that's absolutely okay. That can be fine-tuned later, or before you start going into the editing, but we're not going to do that for the time being. But let's see what AI has in store for us. So this pop-up will show up and you can click on this thing called generative fill. So let's click on it and see what AI is capable of doing. Oh, and you can actually type your prompts. That's pretty interesting. So let's say I want to remove the glasses on this image. Remove glasses. Let's see how that goes. Now it's generating. Almost there. What? Look at this. Just look at this. Why did it...
Oh, what did you type in?
I put remove glasses.
Oh my god.
I put remove glasses. So I'm pretty dumbfounded right now because the program Photoshop did remove the glasses, but it also made me an entirely different person. So with that being said, I probably shouldn't select the entire subject. So let's undo that. I can do that by Command Zing on a Mac really easily. So let's deselect the subject. Let's use the rectangular marquee tool to select just that portion of the glasses. And let's try this again. Let's see how this turns out. Oh my god. So Photoshop gave us 3 different options that we can, based off of this prompt that we gave it. So this is, let's see if I can move this real quick. There are 3 different variations that kind of came out of this prompt that I gave Photoshop, and this is variation 1, variation 2. That looks pretty solid. It removed the glasses, and this is variation 3, which kind of makes me look like Mr. Bean. But let's try to get this perfectly. We'll change the prompt a little bit. Remove eyeglasses. All right, let's see how that turns out for Photoshop. Generate. All right. So so the third time did a pretty solid job at removing the eyeglasses. These are the variations that Photoshop has generated, which is, I wouldn't say it's spot on, but you know, it followed the prompt. Let's try something else with Photoshop. I'm going to select the entire image and see what I can do with the image as a whole. All right, generative fill. Let's try extend background to landscape. So Photoshop turned me into a literal landscape over here. So it did follow the prompt to some degree, but let's see if I can get it to do what I'm trying to do. I've selected the entire canvas and the image as well. Generative fill. Let's try this. Extend backdrop. And let's generate this. So Photoshop gave us 3 variations for the prompt extend background or extend backdrop, and it turned me into a landscape, and eeks ripe. Photoshop is a great program that you can edit images. It gives you so much leeway in the types of edits you can do with your images. You can only import 1 photo at a time because it's only meant to edit single images. You can't bulk import or bulk edit. As a photo editing tool, it's a very good addition to many of the other photo editing programs that we went over. And even in its own right, Photoshop is just very powerful. As far as it goes for the AI in Photoshop, it has a lot of potential. The UI is very easy to use, whether you're trying to select a subject, remove a background, or use generative fill, which is just very easy to navigate in the AI toolbar. It seems that it might need a little improvement because some of the effects that we were getting out of the AI function was kind of missing the mark with the prompts we were giving it, but overall it does have potential. Overall, all of these photo editing programs have their strengths and their weaknesses, and depending on your needs as a photographer, you might have specific uses that some of these programs might offer that the others don't. So Capture One and Lightroom are really good programs if you're a professional and you're trying to edit with a very easy to navigate program. The process in each of these programs are very easy, from importing to editing to exporting, and overall they have very good editing capabilities. Lightroom has the added benefit of bringing images directly from Lightroom into Photoshop and back seamlessly. Luminar is great for doing creative effects with the power of AI in your images, and Photoshop can be a great addition to unlock more creativity when used alongside these other programs. Thanks to Luminar for letting us use their program, and if you're interested in it, you can click the links in the description below to check it out for yourself. See you in the next video.